YouTube, what it do? You know what's crazy? I have three videos like I was prepared to upload and stuff, but the TikTok ban and the CapCut ban. First of all, banning CapCut was stupid. Don't know why they did that, but so yeah, that's mainly why you guys haven't seen me in a couple days because I was really serious when I said I was gonna try to be more consistent for the new year instead of me just spawning in your YouTube feed every 2 weeks. I at least want to do it 3 times a week. And I got a comment today saying keep going. That's motivation. Granted, that's a great segue. Sometimes you shouldn't. Not sometimes. Most of the times you shouldn't have motivation. When it comes to certain things, you should have discipline, right? So a perfect example is the gym. When I first started working out, hated going to the gym just because it's painful. It's a new experience. It's something I'm not accustomed to doing. Why do people do this? Why do people do that? And that was my whole ideology as I was doing it. But sometimes something's painful because it's beneficial for you long term. For example, the gym has a multitude of benefits that I can make a whole different video on why the gym is like beneficial for people. But for the most part, what I am gonna say is right. The gym brings self confidence. The gym makes you bigger, makes you stronger. Granted, it's not just like a physical thing. It's like a mental thing as well. I'd even mention what we're doing today. Today, shoulders and arms. As you see, from now on, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start doing shoulders first because I feel like it's important for me to prioritize one of my weaker muscles instead of one of the stronger ones. So yeah, I'm gonna do shoulders first. So that's what I'm gonna do. Also, what else was I gonna say? Um, yeah, back to me talking about discipline. So yeah, I think it's important that you're disciplined when it comes to all aspects of life. Just because motivation's cool and all, but motivation comes and goes. It's like the weather. The weather is never consistent. Some days, like for example, it snowed yesterday. No, it snowed on Sunday, but we're in January. Granted, that's not unusual. It's not like it's snowing in June, but still, nonetheless, it's a case of like you got to be disciplined when you want something. Because if you're not disciplined, you just you're unlikely to achieve whatever your end goal is. Like I know for me, right? One of my goals is I want my physique to be proportionate, right? And if I don't do certain things in order to accomplish that, I'm not gonna get my end goal. And at the end of the day, I have no one to blame but myself if I wasn't able to accomplish my quote unquote goal. Just because if I have a goal in mind and I'm not taking the necessary steps in order to reach it, who can I really be upset at? No one besides myself. Also, for this one, I honestly don't know why I'm out of frame, and I didn't bother to look at it. That's on me, guys. You guys shouldn't be looking at an out of frame person. But yeah. So the whole point is, if I don't take certain steps in order to accomplish my goals, I can't really be upset if I don't end up accomplishing them. Right. A perfect example is like someone who wants to drive or someone who wants to learn how to drive. If that person doesn't necessarily like take the right courses or the right steps in order to drive, how can they ever expect themselves to drive? It's not gonna happen. So in my case, it's like, oh, if I don't bother to be consistent, right? If I don't bother to do certain things, how can I expect something to happen? That's not how life works, right? In order to achieve something, you gotta work for it. It's not gonna be given to you. That was a complete random tangent about what's it called? About why discipline is more important than motivation. But the best thing is you should use it hand in hand. It's like a pillow and a bed. You can't have one without having the other. Well, you can, but ideally, you'd want them together just because that's how like you'd want something, right? So the whole point of me saying all of this is like, right? If you're not if you're not disciplined, your end goals are not for you. At this point, I feel like I'm repeating myself. But the whole point is, if you're not disciplined in what you want to accomplish, you're not going to get it. So, hence why discipline is so important in our day to day lives. Anyway, back to the video. So, what I'm going to do is, I think I mentioned in one of my other videos. I have, so I don't, my editor doesn't edit my videos no more, which is why you don't see the GeorgeFittt in the beginning. You just see me get straight into it just because, what did we come here to do? We didn't come here to waste time, right? And so this is gonna be the new style I'm gonna go with. I'm not gonna try to do too much editing. I'm just gonna, at least not till like I reach like a certain milestone. Like maybe once I get monetized, I start trying to like have more edits, more cuts, more all of the above. But for the time being, I think I'm just keep it simple, simple, dumb, stupid. It's like an analogy where it's like, oh, you want it to be understanding for a 5-year-old, but you also want to be understanding enough that an 80-year-old can understand. And that's essentially how I think I'm gonna framework my content. Just because, like, as nice as it is for me to have all these edits and stuff, I feel like for the time being, I don't have to worry about that. My biggest priority should just be me just trying to what's it called? Just me trying to like edit the video itself. That way, like, I know what framework I'm going with. I know what like headspace I have to be in. I know how to like do certain things. On the next to me, that's a coworker of mine. Honestly, like, I've learned a lot from him, and actually that leads me to another one. It's always important to like try to. One thing I've realized: you should never take advice from someone you wouldn't want to emulate, in a sense, right? So, I know for me, if you did, I'm so sorry. That's unprofessional, but it's like me trying to take advice from a what's a good analogy? An engineer. Meaning, granted, an engineer probably knows something about my profession that I could definitely learn from. But at the time being, there's really like no like inherent incentive for me to take like advice from an engineer, especially because like my end goal isn't to be an engineer. It's just for something completely different. But the whole point of me saying that is it's always important to try to like talk to someone older, someone who knows more than you do about whatever you might potentially be doing in this case, right? So in the case of me, right, like, so he's been working out for as long as I've been living. So of course he obviously knows things that I wouldn't. There's things that he knows that I can like definitely learn from. So it's in the case of like it's really important essentially that like you get help from others because like if not how do you expect to learn? How do you expect to grow? How do you expect to accomplish certain things? You wouldn't just because like you're not trying to learn. You're not trying to like grasp certain concepts. You're just doing instead of trying to like grasp certain things. And I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing. But if you are like if your end goal is to be like if you're anything like me and you care about improving yourselves, it's important that like we talk to others on the lines of like our improvement in regards to that. I don't really know where I was going with this, to be completely honest with you. But the whole point is, improving ourselves is essential. Just because, like, you can't go through this life alone. You need someone to help you in some shape or form. Hence why, like, granted, me working out with him was pure chance. I think everything happens for a reason, though. And obviously, I needed some, what's it called? I needed some advice. Not advice, but I'm even though like I'm also a trainer, I'm not an infallible source of information. You can always learn from others, and I feel like that's the mindset we gotta have. Or it's just gonna be like, oh, why do I need to listen to you? Why do I need to do this? Just because like you're actually gonna see it in this video, because I was going through it. Like after a certain point, like my hands were cramping and I couldn't do it anymore. But you're gonna just see in the video how like what's it called? Like, oh, I'm giving up and I want to change it. He doesn't let me just because it's like another thing like one of the sayings, one of my favorites at least, how like iron sharpens iron. So like you want to keep like-minded people around you. That way, like, oh, you have an end goal in mind. You have something you want to accomplish. You have people that have similar objectives to you. Where you don't just feel like you're just going at it all by yourselves, which isn't bad, but two heads are better than one. And if you can have someone essentially support you, then why wouldn't you? Like, for example, as you see right now, he's telling me to fully extend my arms, not partially extend it. But at a certain point, I was just too tired. And then I was going to decrease the weight. And then he's just not going to let me just because, why would you? Like, finish what you started, essentially. But I'm saying all this to say, more of this whole video, more, no, no, more of this whole, yeah, more of this whole video. Discipline over motivation. It's important to keep around like-minded people, and it's important for you to also like remember what your end goal is. Like, if you don't have like a goal in mind, there's no way for you to be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, because you're not gonna really achieve it per se. You're not gonna what's it called? You're not gonna accomplish it. You're gonna be like you're gonna feel like, oh, I can't do this, can't do that, can't do etc. etc. But yeah, for the most part, I don't want to end up keep yapping. But as you can tell, no. Shoulders and arms. It's fairly simple day. It was nothing crazy. As you saw, he wouldn't let me change the weight. So it's important that you keep someone that like, is gonna keep pushing you and all that. But I'm gonna let y'all enjoy the rest of it. Hope y'all have a good day. If you have any comments or questions or anything you want me to like prioritize for the future, just let me know.